This is Slingin Dirt, y'all. Talk about dirt track racing all over America. Now, here are your hosts, David Stremme and Steve Post.
Hello again. It is Slingin Dirt. We are not the Stremmies. Well, he's a Stremme. Steve Post sitting in for Ashley because Ashley is out to become Mrs. United States, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But what we are is two guys who are born on June 19th.
Yes.
We share that birthday. I just thought that was kind of cool. And sharing the stage here, talking a little dirt track racing with David Stremme, Steve Post here on Slingin Dirt. Josh Richards going to join us in a little bit. Devin Gilpin and Levi Kissinger going to join us as well. So we've got a great program lined up for you. David, last week I came in here and I was on a sprint car high because I'd been to a couple races. You were you do a lot of racing and around, but you spent the weekend at Fairbury. You've got to be on that dirt track high as well.
I missed the show last week. For a lot of you, I was racing. We went to Sharon, Ohio, seen the big block cars. Friday rained out at Lernerville, so you know where we went? We hauled butt down to Williams Grove. Watched the Posse versus Outlaws.
Yep.
It was really cool. And then Saturday went to Selinsgrove Grove. So we had a great weekend. Won both tracks we went to. Come back, we bought a house. So we're moving, getting a race car ready, and I got to go. So thankfully you stepped in last week. So anyways, we headed to Fairbury, Illinois.
Right.
Population like 3,600.
I know.
Very, very small. Anyways, we went up there. It's called the Prairie Dirt Classic. World Outlaws come in, late models. The locals, anybody that knows, it's just like when the Outlaw sprint cars go to Pennsylvania. The late models and modifieds, when you go to Illinois, it's very, very strong.
Mm-hmm.
Had a great weekend. Friday, the draw race went on, and obviously Kevin Weaver, he's one of the locals up there. He'd be like your I call him the Freddie Raymer of Pennsylvania. He started to pull a lot of the locals up there, and Josh Richards ended up winning. He was very strong. Josh showed his hand there. And through the weekend, it was interesting watching. I really would have thought McCready would have been up there a little farther. But Casebolt come out, 40 laps, led, and blew up.
Oh, really?
I think, as a matter of fact, his tweet had said his water pump blew off and that. But I don't know if you've ever seen any video from Fairbury or not.
I've been there.
Okay.
I've been to Fairbury. Love that place.
The cushion is unreal. I mean, I'm not a cushion. It looks like you have sprint cars there to weigh the cushion. And they're beating off of it and running, and Casebolt was very strong. Bobby Pierce come from 22nd, was in second, all right? And I was fortunate this weekend. I got to say, we parked next to Pierce, and great family. I mean, just super nice.
Great people.
It's amazing watching his dad. His dad's won that Prairie Classic 5 times.
Yeah.
So I was like, no wonder why they they were cheering for Bobby, but yet they were booing a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyways, he's running second, goes down in a corner, and his right front dug into the cushion. He flips a real slow roll, and here comes Shane Clanton. Boom, hit him.
Oh, God.
Clanton ended up finishing third, but what was interesting is I thought Shane had a car to win too, but it kind of damaged his stuff. So Casebolt and Pierce were out, and obviously Richards. You know, Herb come on late, which that's Herb's area, and he's been very strong at these. I don't know if I'd consider Fairbury a crown race, but it was definitely it's a big race. But anyways, the surprise of the weekend was probably Davenport.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up, he had to run the last chance race. He got in, started to feature, and he only run like 17, 20 laps and pulled off. So really didn't have the shine. I don't know if, you know, what's kind of going on if they're testing. I don't think they test for that bigger race.
That race, yeah, it's not one you would.
But they won at I-80, you know, a couple weeks ago. But it's just very odd for their performance. So, anyways, it was great. You know, when I look at the rundown, again, Shirley finished 8th, but I gotta give a shout out Eric Wells. I had a friend there that normally goes sprint car racing and watch.
Yeah.
They had 6 cars flip over this weekend.
Really?
6.
Man.
If you get a chance, check out some of the YouTube video, or Dirt on Dirt has some great videos. But Eric Wells went for a wild ride in practice, destroyed his car, run his backup, and finished 9th in the feature.
Oh, my gosh, that's impressive.
Yeah,
Very impressive. I love, and I think I shared this last week with Ashley. I remember I could find it. The day that I went to Fairbury for a regular show one night. It was the Saturday I was at Chicagoland, the day Jimmy Johnson won his Xfinity Series race, the first Xfinity race, because I was listening to MRN on the way down.
Yep.
So that's how I remember it. But I pulled into this just quaint little town. Reminds me similar to Port Royal on the sprint car side. Just this little town, but down one street, There's this special little place, and I remember when I was there, the firemen did the popcorn, and someone did this, and someone did that, and sat there in the stands. And man, I tell you what a great little racetrack, great little place.
Well, Rigsby, who is I guess the owner of Dirt on Dirt, or he is. That's his hometown area. They had fatheads, they had all this stuff down the backstretch. But what was really amazing for that little town, you turn on 2nd Street to pull into the track, is they had a life light come in on Saturday. And it was for, like, emergency response people and stuff. But the Fairbury American Legion, which runs the racetrack, bought the hospital this life light. So within 20 minutes, I think it's Peoria is where it's stationed at.
Really?
So not only, I mean, they do very well because nobody, I think one guy gets paid $100 to run the track. Nobody draws a payroll. All of it's volunteer. But a lot of that money, so it's really, really neat to see it go back into the community. I thought that was so cool when they announced that. So
that speaks volumes as what they give back to the community.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, David, and you know this sport as well as anybody in the world, a club, a committee, a group trying to run a racetrack is generally a disaster.
Oh, it is.
These guys, that I salute to them for being able to keep it together.
They had their restrooms they just put in and showers were, it was like if you were at Charlotte over here.
Yeah.
I mean, phenomenal. New grandstands, and by the way, it was sold out. Reserved seating
was
sold out Friday. It was amazing. I mean, and they were kind of like, hey, where do we go? Do we keep adding, or do we kind of keep it as it is? But really, really fun weekend. I had a blast. We run 12th. We were okay, but when I talk okay, we outrun some really good cars and guys that didn't make the race. I mean, like I said, you go to Illinois, it's a very, very tough crowd, but it was phenomenal to see all the friends. Joey Coulter was really fast, had some bad luck.
Yeah.
I could go on the list of people, but by far Josh Richards was above.
He was in a league
field.
of his own.
He is, man. Him and his dad and all of them, they're really
rolling.
going. But I'll tell you what was interesting when I look at them. Not only themselves as the lead car for Rocket Chassis, but their customers were fast too. And that said a lot also.
That knowledge is passing, is headed down the pipeline.
Yep.
Well, really cool. How about this? Let's do this. Let's step away, and why don't we just continue the Josh Richards talk, because Josh will join us in just a moment. Stay with us, everyone.
Slingin Dirt returns in 1 minute on MRN.com.
O'Reilly. Need auto parts but can't get to a store right now? Head to O'ReillyAuto.com. Buy your parts online and pick them up in any of the 4,600 O'Reilly Auto Parts stores nationwide. No shipping cost, easy returns, and convenient pickup on your schedule. Shop your way at O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Hi, I'm Marty Huff. Join me and 10-time NHRA national event winner Doug Herbert for 1 hour of horsepower Thursdays at noon on the Straight Line. We'll talk to the biggest names in NHRA drag racing and keep you up to date with news from the pits, tracks, and shops across the country. Join us Thursdays at noon for the Straight Line, streaming live on the MRN app, the Motor Racing Network's YouTube channel, and on MRN.com.
This is Slingin Dirt. Now back to David and Steve.
Welcome back. This is Slingin Dirt here on MRN. We are so glad you joined us, presented by Hercules Tire. And let's go to the Hercules Tire hotline. Joining us is 11-time winner in the World of Outlaw Craftsman late models this season, including the race that David was just raving about, the Prairie Dirt Classic. Josh Richards is on the line. Hello, Josh. Welcome into Slingin Dirt.
Yeah, thanks for having me on here.
All right, let's talk about it. How'd you do it this past weekend?
I guess it was okay.
Yeah.
It was,
okay.
It actually went pretty well.
Okay was, I'd say, I was just bragging on you. I said, in the draw race, you started about mid-pack. They had all the locals up front. We'd seen in the heat races the locals were tough. and you made it look easy. You drove right through the middle, driving up, which I was like, I love the middle lane there, but you made it look so easy. You're cruising, and then Saturday rolls around, and I mean, you had some competition coming up. Dennis Erb Jr. You had Pierce, all these guys. You know, Case Bolt was running well, and you kept your cool, and I mean, and that cushion in the wall was dangerous. So it wasn't an easy job. You need to take good credit here.
No, I appreciate it. You know, I mean, it was a stellar weekend to say the least. You know, we went into Friday, and I knew we had a pretty good car, and you know, the heat race we didn't quite adjust quite enough, and like I said, those locals are you know, really good there, either running the extreme top or running down the bottom. They know when the line changes and where to go, and we got you know, caught in the middle there, and you know, we ended up running second in our heat race. So you know, when we started mid-pack in the Falls draw, you know, 10th or whatever it was, and I knew we only had 25 laps. I didn't really think we had a very good shot at it, but we just tried to, you know, pace ourselves, running the bottom and the middle, and then once we got into position, I moved to the middle in the car. I mean, it just drove right around there. So it was really good. So I knew we'd have a you know, a pretty good shot at it on Saturday. So we you know, starting back 11th again, I just tried to pace myself. I mean, you know how the cushion can be there. I mean, it rained all day, so that, you know, there's just more slop on top. So you know, the cushion was way taller than normal. And it was, you know, there was a lot of speed up there, but it was really treacherous. I just told myself I'm not going up there unless I absolutely have to go up there. So luckily we, you know, our car was good enough where we can pace ourselves and move around and not have to rely on that, so we'd have something left the last 20 or 30 laps. And it took everything we had left to, you know, to hold those guys off, but it worked out. Yeah,
it was. I'll tell you, watching the cushion, it was amazing watching. Like, Case Bolt led the first 40. Obviously, he was in a rocket car, but it was funny. You talk about saving your equipment towards the end, and I mean, I don't know if it was because of the cushion or what, banging off, that water pump come off of his. You seen Pierce flip over. I mean, never have I seen a flip count start at a late model race. I mean, open wheel cars, yeah, but the late models were phenomenal this weekend.
Yeah, it was definitely treacherous up there. So I mean, Case Bolt was setting such a blistering pace up there. I can kind of look up there and see him, and I knew that he was killing the cushion, and I was kind of trying to keep track, you know, where we were at on the track, and he was getting away, but we were still keeping a decent pace in the middle. So I'm like, I'll just stay down here. That looks pretty treacherous for sure.
Yeah.
Josh, when we look at and I'm the sprint car NASCAR guy here, so the dirt late model world is something I'm fascinated by, and I get to see you guys race a couple times a year. When we look at this Prairie Dirt Classic, we understand it's not the dream. We understand where it is, but where do you kind of rank this? Is it, you know, how do you kind of rank this as one of the great races in late model racing? Where does it kind of fit into the pecking order?
Oh, I would say it's got to be in the top 5 for sure.
Really?
You know, I mean,
cool.
You know, set aside, you know, the dream, you know, the races outdoor, the dream, the world, you know, the Dirt Track World Championship. Those races have been around for, you know, so well before I've been born. So that, you know, those races just are, you know, are just established, you know, way up there. But you know, the rest of the races, there's a lot of big races we go to. One of them being this weekend at Cedar Lake, but the Prairie Dirt Classic is fairly new. You know, to me, it's only, I mean, our third time going there, but I know it's been around for a long time and it has a lot of prestige and just the whole Illinois region. I mean, the group of cars. I mean, all, you know, obviously the traveling, you know, guys that come, the top guys, you know, all those guys are there. Plus the local crowd is so strong. You know, it definitely makes it tough to, you know, to try to win. So to be able to win at that race is really cool, and to win that race was, you know, really special. And not only just because of the competition, but the track, the facility, the crew. I mean, they really go out all out on every single aspect of it. And they make you feel really welcome, and it's a fun place to be at, whether you're a racer or a fan. So it's just it's an all out great experience for sure.
Josh, I was comparing it to when the Outlaws go to versus the Posse in the sprint car world. You have I call it the Illinois Mafia, and then you had the late model Outlaws come in, and the fans are very diehard local, but yet they very accept the outsiders, meaning yourself and Clanton and some of the others. Talk about, and I seen a little tweet action of you and Case Bolt still celebrating afterwards, because the afterwards festivities are very fan-oriented and different than, say, other tracks.
Oh, they were without a doubt. You know, I'm usually the first one to go to bed after the races, but you know, we stayed out, and Case Bolt he was bummed out, you know, because he broke, and we're pretty good friends, and he travels up and down the road with us, and so we just went over and hung out with him for a little bit. But the fans, that were constantly coming, there was a lot of. It's not just the typical crowd that's out drinking and partying, but you have a lot of younger kids and a lot of people that are just there just to enjoy the races, and they're all they were there and getting to come see all the drivers and everything. It's really cool because you don't get that a whole lot. Most of the time we're packing up and leaving, going to the next track, and we're always so busy trying to get moving. So it was cool to be able to stay there and see that and spend some time with the fans. And like I said, it's a great time, and it's great for everyone for sure.
I was also hoping you would talk about. Didn't you drive your car down to the bank and get a picture of the check and everything?
I did. I thought they were joking because the day before, Matt Curl, I saw him for a second. He's like, "Hey, you win the race." He's like, "Well, we'll take your car to the bank." And I thought he was just joking. I'm like, "Okay." Well, then we won. He's like, "Hey, when you get done victory lane," he's like, "We still got to take your car to the bank." And I just kind of laughed it off. And I was like, "Yeah, I know, And he's like, "No, seriously." He's like, "Once you get your tire sample," he's like, "Can you meet him over there at your car to go down there?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." So then I wasn't really expecting that, but yeah, we drove the car down the street. Block away or whatever, and went right through the first bank window, and,
oh my
and they had,
gosh,
lights and everything set up.
Yeah.
The president of the Pontiac Bank or whatever it is there, the local sponsor. It was cool to get the picture taken with them, and for them to be involved, the local community be involved that close to the track, and it's just really cool to be a part of.
Man, I love that. That is really, really cool. Wow, what a great tradition they have there with that. That is really, and again, the local community, local involvement, which is you and I were talking about it with the American Legion running it. We're talking with Josh Richards. Of course, Josh, you drive your dad's Rocket Chassis, your family business there. How do you balance as a competitor? Wanting to win every race, okay? You climb into these race cars. I understand you want to win every race. How do you balance that with your customers running well? Also, how do you balance that in your mind?
I guess it's really all that I've really grown up with. Being in this situation is having that, to be able to have to balance both. But it's really tough in some ways. Like I guess for someone else it's so tough, but for us it's pretty normal. So we try to go out there and do our thing, and no matter what, and try to do what we can to win. At the same time, we're obviously always trying to help our customers, and sometimes it's tough because sometimes I like things that are so different from what someone else is looking for that then when we help them with their car, they're like, "Man, I may be a little free or I may be a little tight in certain places," and I'm like, "Well, that's what I'm looking for," and they don't like that. So we just have to learn how to try to meet in the middle to find something that that our customers are wanting to feel and like to feel versus what I like to feel, and it's good to have them for feedback also, to compare notes with. Not only does it help them, but it also helps us also. So it kind of works both ways, and we're very grateful for our customers and it's just it takes both of us to keep everything going. So it is a tough balance sometimes, but it's just I guess just what we're used to.
I'd seen Friday night. I was walking around, and I'm gonna brag on your dad a little bit. I haven't been around the dirt industry as long as others, but I go over and I'm gonna check on Joey Coulter at Harold Holly. I know them from the NASCAR world, and Joey had a little incident in the heat race, and here's a guy welding A-frame plates on the car and doing all this. It was Mark Richards, his dad.
Really?
Sitting there digging on a customer's car. And the one thing I bragged about on the Rockets is how well all the cars run. You just didn't see your car run well. You had Case Bolt, you had Joey was really quick in the practice sessions and in the race and stuff. So many cars or customers there that run well, and I think that not only yourself but your dad have to be very proud of that.
Oh, without a doubt. There's definitely not a guy in the pit area that works harder than he does, and it's not. He's 56 years old. He's been doing this for his entire life, and it's 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. He's got the grinder and the welder and fixing Coulter's car, and it's not just because it's because he's that diehard. Like he just wants to help them get their car ready so they can go out there and try to race and win and do whatever. And it's just, that's just how he is in every aspect of it. So he's definitely a huge part, to our success, obviously. And he really doesn't get enough credit because, this is all he does. It lives and eats and breathes it all the time. And that's just one little small thing that shows it. It's just a lot of people don't see that, but yeah, that's him all the time. Just out there digging.
I got to ask you this. I'd seen your dad. I think somebody got into your fender a little bit, and it was wrinkled up, and they're stopped. And here he comes across the infield, and he's so intense. And you're just so calm and laid back. I mean, like I'd seen you the one time. I think it was before the draw race. You're just like, yeah, I think they're gonna put a such and such tire on the car, and you're just kind of like, you're so calm. How do you guys balance that out?
I don't know. I think a lot of people they don't believe that I'm related to him because he's the one way and I'm so the other, but it works. It works that way, and we both have full confidence in each other. So I look down and sometimes I know that if he's giving hand signals, and sometimes he'll say hurry up on the top and hurry up on the bottom. It's just he's all the time on top of it. All the time trying to figure out what we need to do to be faster. And I just have to try to process that and use that the best I can. Because if I followed everything that he told me, I would be zigzagging down a straightaway, every straightaway. So I just gotta, I gotta rely on my own instinct and a lot, and just try to balance that. But yeah, I guess our personalities are polar opposites, but I guess it works.
That is fantastic. That is really, really cool. Final question for you here, and you alluded to it. Coming up this weekend, Cedar Lake. Tell us a little bit about the upcoming race, what you're expecting there, and looking forward to going up there and seeing what you have.
This is probably my favorite event of the year besides going to Eldora in the World Finals. Growing up as a little kid, long story short, we were able to win this race when I was like 12 years old as a house car owner, and I was a crew guy at the time. And Davy Johnson won the race, and we were actually able to come back and win this race. We won it 5 years ago, so it was a really special event, and I just love going to Cedar Lake. The track's really fun to race at. I mean, obviously it pays $50,000 to win, so it's a really cool, fun event, and we're looking forward, to going, and hopefully we can keep the momentum that we've had this season going into this event. But there's a lot of tough competition coming, so we're just gonna try to do what we can to stay up front and hopefully have a good time.
See what happens with it. Josh, we appreciate the time. Congratulations on all the success this year and picking up the Prairie Dirt Classic this past weekend. Good luck at Cedar Lake and on out the season, but thanks for joining us here today on Slingin Dirt.
Yeah, thanks for having me on here.
There we go.
Good luck.
Josh Richards, really cool.
Yeah. I'll tell you, what's interesting before we go to break?
Yeah.
Park next to Bobby Pierce and his dad were the same way. His dad was so intense, and Bobby was just sitting there, and he's just kind of laid back and cool and calm, and I'm like, totally two different opposites.
Yeah, I don't know if they share the intensity because I don't know. But what that story reminded me of? We were down at Volusia. Sprint cars were down there.
Yep.
And Brian Clausen, of course, is doing the 200 races, had an engine problem. Ricky Stenhouse Sr., Ricky builds the engines, a lot of the engines.
Yeah.
And I don't know the intensity thing. The intensity thing doesn't. But it was so cool watching Ricky Jr. and Ricky Sr. working on that car inside the frame or inside the bumpers. They're working on that car. And we had Ricky on our Wing Nation show, and he says, "I don't get to touch cars."
Yeah.
The NASCAR thing. The last thing you want is the driver touching the race car.
Yeah.
And just get a chance to get their hands dirty. But the old man building those engines, Ricky Sr., very, very passionate about building the engines. I don't know that there's that personality dynamic there because I don't know his father that well, but that's interesting. It really is.
It's interesting seeing, both with the success Mark Richards has had and Bob Pierce, that their kids are obviously very, very good. But yet it's hard not to be the dad and go, hey, I think we need to do this, and they're trying to do the best, and you can see the kids just kind of, hey, we got this, we're doing this.
I wonder,
totally different aspects of going about it.
Their dads are so intense, you're likely not going to get a chance to – they're likely not going to give you much of an answer on this because they are so intense. But it'd be interesting to see what they're thinking, and listening to Josh talking about, if I did everything my dad said, I'd be high, I'd be hello. It'd be interesting to see, as intense as they are, how they – maybe they're even scaling it back even though they're so intense.
I think the thing – and I talked to both Bob and Bobby, and Bob had seen things one way, and Bobby's kind of seen another. But they're family. They're gonna kind of have the thing. But they have that love for each other, and you see it with Josh and Mark. That Mark's just so intense. He's all over, and Josh is like, hey, we'll be all right. We're gonna do this, and they get the end result. But that's probably why both of those groups are very, very strong.
Yeah.
And it's interesting as they go through their change in life as the kids get older and the fathers are there, the progression. But It's really, really neat. I think the time I got to spend with my dad racing and doing stuff is second to none on experience.
Would not trade it for anything in the world. I spent last Friday night watching the dirt modifieds up at Penn Camp with my dad.
Yeah.
And we never were on the driving side of it, but we were in the spectating side of it every Friday and Saturday night. And that was our thing. So really cool. Hey, we need to step away. We're going to talk a little more a little bit of modified racing coming up. Devin Gilpin, he joins us next.
Slingin Dirt returns in 1 minute on MRN.com.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
Get all the reactions and latest word from the track immediately following each race weekend on MRN's Motorsports Monday with Woody Kane and Joey Meyer.
Johnny Sauter drives the number 21 Chevrolet Silverado.
I didn't know that necessarily we'd win first race of the year.
Log on to MRN.com every Monday at noon Eastern or stream the program from the MRN Media Center on demand. It's MRN Motorsports Monday, only on the Motor Racing Network.
Race cars are finally tuned for maximum performance. Freightliner trucks are too, taking into account all the factors that drive your profitability and lower your real cost of ownership. Efficient aerodynamic designs paired with the integrated Detroit powertrain maximizes fuel efficiency, uptime, quality, connectivity, and safety to give truckers peace of mind and a better return on investment. Find out how to lower your real cost of ownership at rco.freightlinertrucks.com.
This is Slingin Dirt. Now back to David and Steve.
Welcome back. We are having a great time here, Slingin Dirt here on Motor Racing Network, and so glad you joined us. Try to catch up with Devin Gilpin, so hopefully we'll get a chance to do it. He had a big weekend winning the Southern National Championship.
He had a big whole week.
Yeah.
When I had seen him, we went to Whitville Raceway a couple of weeks ago when they started the Ray Cook, and they race every night. I think they had one night off or something, but Gilpin really surprised me. Not having a lot of late model experience, more modified, but to compete against Vic Hill and so many others that run in the Southeast here to win that championship is pretty good. So he's probably relaxing, or he celebrated last night or something.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully Kreger, our producer, is trying to dial him up and trying to go. When you're new, you've shared, and I know your story going back years and years ago. When you first came into NASCAR, we chatted about racing, and you're kind of new to the dirt world, okay?
Yeah.
And you've shared with us how you love going to Illinois, how the Carolinas, you're enjoying that, how you got a chance to go see the sprint cars in central Pennsylvania, you race your modified. Is there an area of the country that you've seen in the dirt world, whether it's late model, whether it's modified, or even maybe the sprint car world, is there an area where you're like, man, that's if I had to settle in somewhere and just be a Friday and Saturday night racer, that's where I would do it?
I don't know. We went to Boone. Obviously, Boone Nationals are coming up. Florida's great during Speed Weeks.
Yeah.
I said this weekend after being in Fairbury, I said, when I'm done racing, I could see retiring to a little town like that and just enjoying. But I have a hard time. I really, really have a hard time going to the same place every week because I don't want the drama. I don't care what racetrack you go to.
Yep.
There's always, this guy or this guy. And it's just, I love going to different places. Like right now on my schedule, obviously I got to go with the wife this week as soon as we're done here today.
Yep.
Hopefully she can put that in victory lane and win it. But like Saturday's Portsmouth, a big 3,000 to win mod show, I'd go up there. I don't really. I would probably have an RV and just go to the tracks.
Yeah, see, I'm the same way. I love what I look at the last month and a half, and it's on the sprint car side, but I hit 2 nights in Ohio Speed Week, Attica, which I love Attica. I've been there a couple times, but I hit Waynesfield, which was just a spectacular track. The next week, went to Central Pennsylvania, got rained out a couple nights, but did catch races at Lincoln and Path Valley.
Love Path Valley. Haven't been there yet, but I want to go.
Oh, yeah, Path Valley. Then 2 weeks ago or last weekend, did 360 sprint car racing, Carolina Speedway and Lancaster Speedway here in South and North Carolina. This past weekend, I did the modifieds at Pencan Speedway. I had the coolest thing. Pencan Speedway, big block dirt modified.
You did that
track.
while you were in Pocono.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got rained out my sprint car stuff on Saturday night. But I had the coolest thing. Pencan Speedway, it's never been one of the super dirt car series tracks. It's always been one of those just independent Friday night big block modifieds. One time it was big block, small block combination deal, alcohol injected 320s, 358s. We had everything at one time. But I had a chance, and it was their Legends of Pencan night. And I had the chance and just went up there. And Legends races are one of those, Legends nights are one of those nights you don't know if you're going to walk out of there happy or sad because because in the era that I followed racing is not the social media era.
Yeah.
So sadly, when you go to those, you find out that some of your heroes maybe are no longer with us. So that's what I mean about sad. But then a lot of times you catch up with some folks. Well, I had a chance, and this means nothing to anybody but me, but I had a chance to watch a dirt modified feature with a guy named Stubby Stevens.
Really?
Okay? Stubby Stevens ran in the 60s and 70s there, and he had this absolutely beautiful Barracuda modified, dirt modified.
What number was he?
Number 27.
27.
Blue, bright blue with a yellow number 27 on it. And Jimmy Barnes was his mechanic. And, of course, the word, I'm a little kid now. The word
I
is.
bet Mike Hillman Sr. knows about this guy.
It probably does. You're right about that. But the word is that nobody works on Mopars like Jimmy,
Really?
his crew chief, Jimmy Barnes. You know, and so I'm there, and Stubby's a guy I've ran into a few times because he lives in Daytona 3 months a year, so I see him down in Florida every once in a while, but it's been a few years. But to have a chance to go there and watch the current day modified guys race and to stand there with an 85-year-old legend that is as full of life as, I mean, he's 85 in years.
Yeah.
He's 55 in spirit.
Yeah.
I mean, he is kicking butt and taking names. This guy is still wide open, sharp as a tack, healthy, fit as
loves going to the track.
Loves going to the track. And just to stand there and watch that race with him, you know, it's you know, and it wasn't the best race. It wasn't a bad race. It was a good race. But just hanging out with one of my heroes as a kid.
That made your night.
It made my year because it'll be one of my favorite nights. You know, and then I got done with him, you know, with Stubby, and then went down and sat with my dad and watched some other the stock car classes. But, you know, and I think I'm the same way as you because I think you're right. You go to the same place and you get caught up in it. And this one is favored, and this one's the promoter's this, and that one is this. We're traveling around, bouncing around like I do. You never get in the middle of it, but you get to see all this great racing.
And you do. There's two drivers, Mike Harrison and Ray Bollinger, got into it. They've been kind of going, and everybody was kind of into it. And I'm like, okay, I knew what was going on, but I'm like, look, if you travel around, we all love what we do.
Yeah.
And it's interesting you talk about, like, Bob Pierce is 65 years old.
Yeah.
I'd have never thought that the way he was working. I mean, he's so intense. He's like, oh, I just get collector cars when I'm done. I'm like, no, you're not. You're not going to sit around. A racer, as they get older, it's interesting. It's you either see them at the track or you don't see them at all. You don't see them anywhere.
Yeah.
And I kind of use the analogy of you see guys that go to the bar, like, say, Cheers. Norm.
Right, Norm.
He goes to the bar. He goes there. He wants to see all his buddies. If he don't want to go to a bar, you don't see him anywhere.
That's right.
Ever.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's interesting, but to me, the history of having those guys that have paved the way for the other guys, especially in dirt racing, I'll tell you what's so different between asphalt and dirt.
Mm-hmm.
Dirt, the veterans seem to stay longer, and the youth comes in, and that transition period's smoother. Then on asphalt, it's really gotten to where, older guys are out, new guys are in. Fans have a hard time relating and doing stuff. It's very different, but it's interesting you talk about, you know, Pencan and traveling like at Pocono. It's funny, like this week in Watkins Glen, you got Black Rock Speedway.
Yep.
There's different tracks. I never went to Black Rock, but as far as, you know, when I was growing up, when the series was going on, it's like, yeah, okay, let's get away from here. We're gonna go to a short track race, and you go there and you enjoy it. And like you said, it's just it's a blast, and you see so many different things. And I tell people, somebody wanted me to do a count of how many racetracks I've been to, and I go, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I think Ken Schrader's really the only guy that can have a number.
Yeah. The other thing, we'll step away. Levi Kissinger is going to join us here in just a second. But the thing that's just so interesting and just so cool about it is just traveling around and seeing all this stuff. You see great racing, great folks everywhere you go, and just so absolutely amazing. Really, really, truly.
How many times do you run into somebody and you'll go, I never would have thought, because racing's small world.
Yeah.
somebody brings up a name and you're like, yeah, I know them, and they would have never thought that.
We were traveling. Kevin Grubb is an engine tuner for Joe Gibbs Racing, okay? Years and years and years ago, someone said something about Florida, okay? Yeah. And they said something about in the Tampa Zephyr Hills area. And Kevin says, Zephyr Hills, Florida. I've never heard of that place. And I said, Buzzy Rudiman, Zephyr Hills, Florida. And he's like, you knew somebody from Zephyr Hills, Florida? I says, yeah, Buzzy Rudiman. Kevin Grubb ended up tuning or working somewhere along the way with the Toyota program on David Rudiman's engines. And every time he saw me, he was like, Zephyr Hills, Florida. I remember it the first time I heard Zephyr Hills, Florida. So it's fascinating how that goes. It's such a small world, It is. So many neat things. We need to step away. When we come back, Modified Talk with Levi Kissinger. He joins us next.
Slingin Dirt returns in 1 minute on MRN.com.
O'Reilly.
Need auto parts but can't get to a store right now? Head to O'ReillyAuto.com. Buy your parts online and pick them up in any of the 4,600 O'Reilly Auto Parts stores nationwide. No shipping cost, easy returns, and convenient pickup on your schedule. Shop your way at O'ReillyAuto.com. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Are you in the concrete, construction, or waste industry? Are repair bills starting to pile up as your current mixer, dump, or waste truck starts to show its age? Before you make that plunge, consider an alternative to buying new. The Housby 2G second generation program is the complete refurbishment of your existing used trucks without the hefty price tag that comes with it. Extend the life of your current trucks today and give yourself an economic alternative to that new truck price. For more information, visit Housby.com. Housby, an official sponsor of NASCAR for over 40 years.
Live sports are the one true reality entertainment, where a single dramatic moment can become timeless. In NASCAR, Motor Racing Network's live broadcasts elevate your senses to the sights, sounds, and struggles taking place on the racetrack.
Keselowski to the bottom of the racetrack. He tries to slide up. Newman is there. Sideways is Keselowski.
The power of radio to the imagination of the listener. Tune in to the Motor Racing Network. Visit MRN.com for an affiliate list in your local area.
This is Slingin Dirt. Now back to David and Steve.
Welcome back. We are having a great time. So glad you joined us here on Motor Racing Network on Slingin Dirt. Ashley will be back next week. Hopefully she'll be back as Mrs. United States next week.
I'm having so much fun. Maybe we can postpone her a week.
She said the same thing last week.
Because normally I get yelled at, and I'm getting.
She said the same thing last week. That's interesting.
I
imagine. No, it is great. It really is cool. Hey, we need to jump back on the Hercules Tire Hotline. Joining us now, he drives that number 8K modified. Levi Kissinger's on the line. Hello, Levi. Welcome into Slingin Dirt.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. That's a pretty cool deal here.
Great to talk with you. What did I see? You won Fairbury this weekend?
Yes, sir. We went up there for the Prairie Dirt Classic weekend up there, and I ended up having a pretty good weekend. All said and done at the end of the weekend. We started out kind of rough, but finished out strong here.
Started out rough. I mean, I know you were trying some things on Friday, but I knew when you started up towards the front there, I said, man, he's going to be hard to beat, because I've been following you, and you've had a really good year. But what does it mean? I mean, the quality of modifieds there, obviously the late models were the center stage, but the modified show was second to none. And, I mean, to win that's got to be a great feeling.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's if you look in, like, UMP land, and even some of the guys like you guys come over there, and, I mean, the modified rule, they don't get much tougher in competition of a field of 24 cars or 26 cars, whatever that was. That was a pretty stacked field, and it's probably up there one of the biggest wins of my career. Just because of the quality. We won that Summer National late model race last year, but I mean that's a big deal too. But I feel like just the track and everything, such a tough place to get around, and the cars up there. That's probably one of the bigger wins of my career.
Wow, that is that. Yeah, really, really cool. Now, so you won a late model race there or a Summer National elsewhere? Yeah,
went to the Hell Tour race in Clarksville last year, and that deal was cool, but it was like more of a local race for me. Like I had a lot of laps on that track, and Fairbury, I don't have a whole lot of laps, and typically if you look at my previous results up there, we haven't really been that great. We can always time in real well and heat race well, but whenever it comes feature time, we usually struggle a little bit. And so, I mean, for me to pick up a win up there, I mean, that was, definitely, a big confidence boost for me anyway.
What do you find that you like to drive better, a late model or modified?
Man, I only got to run about 15 or 20 late model races last year, just because the costs are astronomical.
Yep.
And the competition's tough. But I do think the modifieds are tougher because you have to search more for traction a lot of times. It's funny to talk about, but you really in late model you can feel the aero in them. If you get to a bigger racetrack, you can lose the nose real quick, and I feel like it's pretty much wide open from the time you pull on the racetrack to the time you pull off of one of them things anymore. And the modified stuff, you really got to finesse a car and have to slide it around and kind of find the traction in the racetrack a little bit. So I definitely think it helped out my program running the late model because it slowed everything down in a modified. But, I definitely think the modifieds are tougher to drive for sure.
Levi, I'm the newbie to the modified world here. Stremme, he's obviously very involved in it. When you look at a season, when you look at your schedule, is there certain events you follow? Is there a tour you follow? How do you sit down and put together a schedule, and what do you look for in a year? What's a good year as far as the schedule goes for you?
It's we're in a pretty good part of the country. We can go race 3-4 nights a week just about anywhere where we live at, but with me having a day job, too, it's kind of hard for me to sneak away a whole lot. I try to schedule 25, 30 races a year. We'll sit down and look at the beginning of the season, and, we'll look at the shows that pay $2, $3, $4, $5, and $10,000. We'll kind of look at the logistics of it just to see how close they are. But, we try to hit, we're fortunate enough in our area we can drive 3 or 4 hours. We can hit a big show about every weekend, And about 30 races about all I can really do a year, just with the way work is and stuff around. We got a cattle farm, we got stuff going on there.
I was going to ask if you're into farming.
Yeah, we raise cattle. Me and my dad both work shift work, and we raise. So we ain't really a whole lot of free time to go around. So we do that. We work our day jobs. We ain't real big into it, but it definitely helps. Sell them here and there just for help for motor bills and stuff like that. Just anything for a little extra sponsorship income on that.
The farming inside little joke, Steve. I always ask everybody, what they do during the week, and I'm like, yeah, you a farmer, And I always thought farmers make good racers in this dirt deal because they can see the moisture in the dirt or tell what it is. It's like one of the things when I was driving up through Illinois, which the crops are doing great up there. I asked Mike Harrison. He works for a big farm. I think they said they farm 12,000 acres. And I said, well, hey, how's the crops doing? He goes, oh, it's going to be a record year. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I can tell everything's green, a lot of rain, and now I can talk to somebody about cattle because
we got cattle coverage too.
Yeah, they said the cattle prices are down a little bit. Is that true, or where do you think things are at?
We ain't really sold a whole lot this year, He's been holding on to some of them, but we do the Angus beef cattle.
Oh, yeah.
So you ever need any freezer beef, you can let us know. We hook you up.
Oh, for sure. Postman and I love to eat.
Oh, yeah, me too. Like I said, we never have an empty freezer at the house, that's for sure. That's the only good thing about it, I guess. But we've been fortunate enough this year, we haven't really tore a whole lot up, so we haven't really needed to spend a whole lot of extra money, so usually we get into a year, there's been a couple of years I tore about 2 or 3 race cars up and popped a couple motors, and so I had to get on the pops about selling some cows for it. But other than that, we fortunate enough this year it ain't been too bad. But yeah, he's been holding on, ain't selling just because of the prices of it. So.
Levi, you've set yourself up. You don't realize this at the time, but you will realize this within a couple of hours. You set yourself up with a stalker because as much as as much as David and I love to eat and love meat, Craig Moore, the producer, the guy that called you to set this up. Craig Moore. I am telling you what, this guy. There's 365 days a year, and he has his smoker out 400 of them.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I tell you what, if I know you guys would be up around here next time, maybe just come up to that big race February. We'll try to throw some meat in a freezer cooler.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
We have a new winner as far as favorite guest goes, that's for sure.
Yes.
Heck yeah, we'll try to hook you guys up anyway a little bit. It ain't nothing like fresh beef, you can't buy it at the grocery store.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right about. I do actually buy from a local farmer. I actually here in our area. So
what's the head of cattle that you take care of?
We've been up to 60 to 80 down to freaking 20. Just depends on what we got going on in the house. We can't get a whole lot. 60 to 80 is way more than what we need. Just because we both work I bet we both work 60 hours a week, and then you throw in racing on top of that, and that's a full-time job in itself. It's just there ain't a whole lot of sleep that goes around around our area, but do it just because we enjoy it, I guess.
You say you do shift work. What type of work do you do?
I work at an oil refinery, actually. So.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, that I'd love to be able to get away and race more. We're fortunate enough we've had some good people help us. I've got some good sponsors and good people helping me that want to get out and race more. But at the end of the day, just the way, we got bills to pay and you got insurance stuff to worry about. For me, it's hard to step away from that. So I figure 25, 30 races. That's just about my cap on a year.
Well, 25 and 30 is a lot. I will say that.
It is.
I was surprised. I went to Willie's Carburetors. It's like really right by the Indiana border down by Evansville in
Illinois. That's exactly where I'm from. Yeah, I'm right there, right at Willie's area.
So we drove through there, and I was amazed at how many oil rigs were around there.
Yeah, it's real big in this area. Like, oil is a booming deal right through here. The Illinois basin, I guess it is. And like my brother-in-law, Trent Young, they own their own oil service company. And
hey, you claim him?
Yeah, it's nice, having him as my brother-in-law because we both run the same car, same class, and it definitely helps with like sharing notes. Like he ended up winning Friday and we won Saturday, and we kind of put our heads together on some stuff.
Yeah.
And it's nice. He races a lot. He probably runs 60 to 80 races a year, and I don't get to run 20 or 30, so it definitely helps out. With him helping out with the learning curve on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I was just joking about that.
Yeah.
I was just being funny about it, but
heck yeah, we don't claim him. We always claim the redheaded stepchild, but we claim him.
He is redheaded too.
Is he really?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's really good. Levi, where to next? Now you won there at Fairbury. Where's the next race you got scheduled on your plans?
I don't know. Like I've been kind of looking to see what's all been going on. I need to get out. I've been trying to get out east sometime. I've been trying to look at some of that Renegade Dirt stuff. I just, I don't know the tire stuff out there. I've been looking at some of that stuff coming up.
Hey, they got a race at Tazewell on August, I want to say 13th. It's a Bristol weekend. It's not far from Bristol, so you can go to Tazewell, race on the high banks, and go over to Bristol and watch the Cup race.
Yeah, I thought that's what was coming up in a couple of weeks. I wasn't sure. I'm gonna take this weekend off and go. I gotta kind of rebuild my stuff after beating the cushion down for 40 laps the other night up there. Body got pretty roughed up on it, but I'm going to put any skins on. I thought about going there and then getting ready for that big Labor Day weekend coming up, in September.
Yeah.
For the
3 nights.
3-night deal there. Like I said, just real busy right now. It's hard to find time to get away. We've been, real busy, and we snuck away last weekend there. But
I seen too. There's a lot of fairs going on down this time of year.
Yeah, like. Over in Illinois, they had a lot of fair. Like in Indiana, they don't have any fair races, but Illinois, you can go about every night during the week and find a fair race.
Really?
Yeah.
We tried to hit some of them, during the week because luckily with working shift work, I get a lot of days off during the week, and that's what we do with the summer national stuff. We could go on a Monday and Tuesday and race if I had to, if I was off. So that helps out with the summer national schedule for sure. Like. They're getting ready to pick up, like this is usually about the time the money picks up around here, in Illinois. And so kind of been getting our program refined for that a little bit so we can try to pick up some more money. It's been honestly, it's been a good year. I think we've won like 8 races out of 17 so far this year, I think. So,
that's real good.
Really, and it's been a pretty good year for all, for the competition, because we've pretty much eliminated our local schedule and just do like with the bigger money stuff, we kind of just ventured out and did that only now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of.
Well, it's always good seeing you. That's the thing. I always like Trent Young, all them. You look at that crowd, and that's why I know it's got to feel good to win there Saturday because the locals are tough, but there's so many strong outsiders. And
the modifieds are tough as the late models anymore, I believe. Like I've ran them both, and you got, it's good to see you guys, like you and Kenny and all them guys come back and race. It's just cool to be able to race against you guys and stuff too. It's just neat, because you guys are just like one of us when you get there, And it's definitely neat when you guys show up, whenever you guys roll on the track. It's always good to see everybody. And it's, any given night, there's 25, 30 modified guys that can win anymore, at some of these shows. And it's just all how you time in and heat race, and that pretty much dictates the rest of your night at some of them shows. So,
man, a lot going on, that's for sure. Levi, I'll tell you what, congratulations on that win. We appreciate you joining us here on Slingin Dirt. Great conversation. Great to get acquainted with you. Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll try to remember if you guys come up in September, and I'll try to remember for you guys. Just so.
Oh, we'll make sure the cooler's cold and empty for you.
All right, buddy.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thanks, Levi.
See you.
You got it.
Boy, Craig is on cloud nine.
Oh,
right
man,
now.
he's getting hooked up. He's getting a hookup. He's getting, I was thinking about this as I'm listening to Levi, and we all talk about, oh, he wants it bad. Oh, he wants it bad. Everyone wants everything bad.
Yeah.
He's working a 60-hour-a-week job.
Yep.
Okay, they're raising cattle on the side to help fund the racing
car.
program,
Yep.
and they're doing 25 to 30 races a year. That's a guy that wants it bad.
Oh, yeah. And, I say this. We had a little talk this weekend amongst mod drivers and doing stuff, and I talk about the integrity of the modified is a working man's car. And we build cars, and I do it, both he mentioned Kenny Wallace, Schrader, and myself. We've all got to race at the top.
Sure.
We love the modified because we take it's like me and my buddy go to the track. And Ashley will go. That's it. We don't take a big crew. We don't do nothing. I have other cars to build during the week. I don't work on my car till the evening.
Right.
But Kenny's the same way. I know so many people that the modified they can work on it and go race and have fun.
Right.
A late model is so much time.
Becomes a job.
So much time.
Becomes a job
Yes.
more so, yes. Absolutely. We need to step away. More Slingin' Dirt in just a moment.
Slingin' Dirt returns in 1 minute on MRN.com.
Motor Racing Network, glad to have you aboard for our coverage of practice, something we will be doing all throughout the year.
They are pretty close in practice.
You said you learned a lot in practice.
We can have a good, clean practice.
How many teams are going to opt out of practice?
Get this practice session underway.
As we close out practice.
What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man.
We are talking practice. Sprint Cup Series practice on the Motor Racing Network. Join us all season long on MRN.com and the MRN app. Before you set your fantasy racing lineup, check in with our experts to get the inside line on who's fast and who's last entering the race weekend. Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett take you inside the facts, stats, and latest news from the track so you have everything you need to set your team and win the weekend. Log on to MRN.com and enter the Media Center every Friday. It's the inside line on demand and only on the Motor Racing Network. Looking to find the best place for all the latest NASCAR Sprint Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, K&N, and Modified Series news? MRN.com is the place to go. Your online home for NASCAR news, opinion, podcasts, videos, race schedules, results, and statistics. Award-winning motorsports writers keep you informed and up-to-date on all the latest breaking NASCAR news and in-depth stories and opinion. MRN.com, your online home for all the NASCAR information you're looking for.
This is Slingin' Dirt. Now back to David and Steve.
Welcome back. We are having a great time here with Slingin' Dirt on MRN. David Stremme and Steve Post here. Before we get out of here, now what's you leave for Las Vegas. Ashley normally sits here in the studio, and Ashley normally does the show with David. She's Mrs. North Carolina. She's in the hunt for Mrs.
United States
this week in Las Vegas. So you're headed that way?
No racing for me. We leave tonight, go out there, support her. I'm going to go see a couple friends and come back Friday, and she's going to stay out there with her parents, and then Saturday I'll go to East Lincoln and watch. But one of the things, I hope she gets to – I talk about parking in Victory Lane.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But one of the things before we go is interesting. They went in front of World Outlaws, the 5 that had been caught for tire soaking
failed the
test.
Yeah.
They said, hey, look, penalties are still staying. So like this weekend, Brandon Shepard, Bloomer, Owens, a lot of them, they weren't there and they're not going to be at the World either. But what's interesting and what's going on in Dirt World, and I've heard some things on that where they said, hey, there's something out of the tire. Hey, these guys failed. I don't know the whole deal. But anyways, Lucas Oil at Florence at the North-South Shootout here in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do a deal where basically everybody brings their wheel, I think, that makes the race. They're going to mount the tire and say, look, that's your tire for the race. No siping, no grooving, no nothing.
Really?
And obviously they're still working some things out to where maybe they'll have some there if they have flats or whatever else. I'm not sure if I really like this or not because I understand they're trying, but to me there's processes of when you get your tire sample, there's enough samples, take it. and there's so many. I guess the question is there's so many labs now. Listen, if one lab it fails, then send it to the next one. If it fails there, or if it's not, then you need to get together. But I'm not for favor of this tire deal. I just think it's going to be quite the mess, and I don't think there's enough infrastructure in place to make sure this happens.
Yeah, because there's going to be a lot of cars. There's going to be a lot of tires.
And you're talking about a crown race.
Right.
So, I mean, it's like, do it at a little race and try
At least get it up to speed. Because it's almost, you know, I mean, I understand spec series. Yes. I understand, you know, spec street stock motors or spec street stock shocks or something like this. But it's tough to do when you're talking the late models. Or, you know, I mean, it really is. It's a real challenge.
As technology changes, the series have got to change. They got to keep up with stuff. So everybody's adapting. But speaking of technology, the safety equipment, Eddie Carrier Jr. had a bad wreck.
Yeah, you were showing me that. Yeah, oh my gosh.
At Atomic. Same with Tyler Carpenter. Tyler Carpenter ended up wrecking and went and won Sunday night at Brushy Creek. So he come back. But speaking of technology, they got to fix some of the walls and some of the tracks at these places. Scary.
That one was scary looking. That really was. And it's just, you know, we you know, working on the cars, working on the specs, working on the rules, but let's make sure we're working on the tracks as well where we see some bad spots. Exactly.
Yeah. But, I mean, tonight, Shawano up in Wisconsin, they have World Outlaws tonight, and then obviously they go to Cedar Lake, so that's going to be pretty big. Lucas Oil's off, but I seen Bloomer. He won over at Tazewell. He went to the Ray Cook race, but still a lot of racing going on. As I say, just go social media.
Exactly.
There's so much going on.
I know my friends of Super Dirt Series, they were in Merrittville last night, and they're racing all over the place.
IMCA's got a lot of fair races going on.
Oh,
they got
that's great.
Hawkeye Tour happening, so
just go find it, folks.
Check it out.
Go find it and go to a racetrack. We appreciate Josh Richards joining us, Levi Kissinger joining us as well. Ashley will be back next week. Thanks for joining us, though, here on Slingin Dirt on MRN.com.
This has been Slingin Dirt with Ashley and David Stremme. Listen every Tuesday at 11 Eastern on MRN.com for more news, interviews, and opinion from dirt tracks all over America. Slingin Dirt is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.